Hello everyone, my name is Julian and I will be speaking to you today about language. Now, can all of you who understood that previous sentence I just said, please raise your hands? Great, that means that you can speak a language, at least one, English to be specific, and therefore what I am going to say does apply to you. I'd like to start this speech by playing a little game with you. In a short moment, I will show you an image of a thing, and I would like you to consciously register what happens in your brains when you see it. Okay. Ready? That's, of course, an apple. Now, as soon as your eyes saw this image of an apple, your mind started bringing forward images of other things or memories or experiences that you in some way associate with it. Maybe for some of you, you thought of an orange, maybe of an apple pie or of an orchard, or maybe you remember the last time you ate an apple or the last time you bought some apples. However, I am willing to bet that for most of you, the first thing that came into your mind when you saw this was not another image at all, but the word itself, apple. Let's play the same game again. That's, of course, also an apple, but it is clearly different from the first one. It's got a different color, a slightly different shape. It probably tastes a bit differently. But again, I am willing to bet that the first thing that came into your minds when you saw this image was, again, the word apple. It seems like there is something in all of our minds that takes all of those sensational experiences that we associate with apples and supersedes them with the string of letters A, P, P, L, E. And furthermore, that thing somehow knows that both of those different things are the same word. And that thing, of course, is language, the single most important invention in the history of humanity. But you know, it wasn't always like this, that when you saw an image of an apple, you thought of the word apple, or an equivalent in any other language. Imagine a scene like this. Around 200,000 years ago, a group of early humans is sitting around a campfire. They are watching the flames flicker, they can hear the wind howl, and they sense the dangers lying in the darkness beyond. And then, for the first time in history, someone speaks. Not just a grunt or a cry, but a word. A symbol tied to a meaning, a sound with structure. That moment changed everything. Because the moment we spoke the first word, we did not only change the way we communicate, we changed how we think. That moment was when the last animal became the first person. I would like to explore an idea today which I find quite profound. I don't think that we developed language in order so we can express our thoughts more clearly. Instead, I think that we began thinking clearly because we developed language. Before language, reality was immediate, sensory. Things were just there in front of you. Loud, quiet, hot, cold, soft, hard, dangerous, or tasty. But there was no sense of self, no concept of time, and no categories to sort the chaos. Language introduced something radical, distance. With a word, you can hold an idea in your head even when it's not present in front of you. A lion in the darkness became the lion. A set of all different characteristics like the idea of jaws, claws, paws, fur, the sound of a roar, and the feeling of being frightened were all unified under this one word, the lion. And furthermore, all the different groups of those sensual experiences that were roaming the savannah again became one category, lions. Now, we tend to think about language as a tool that we use, like you can use a hammer when you want to nail something down. You wield the language in your mouth or in a pen in your hand, use it for wherever you need, and when you're done, you just put it down so it can wait until the next time you need to use it. However, that is precisely not how language operates. Once you learn a language, once your mind starts unifying experiences into words, it can never stop. You can never unlearn a language. There is no point in your life, after, of course, infancy, in which you can perceive reality differently than through the lens of the language. In this way, language splits the world. It breaks the continuity of experience and says, here is one thing, here's another, here's a dog, here's a cat, and here's you. But what happens when we turn language inwards? With language, we can not only name other people or other beings, we can name ourselves. Language forces the emergence of the subject, of an I. After all, you can't say, I am hungry or I saw a lion without using the word I. This marks the definitive beginning of the self, the inner narrator. We are no longer beings who just feel with language. we are beings who actively know that we feel, and we can remember it, describe it, and argue it. However, at the same time as language gave us all these incredible abilities, it also took something away from us. It deprived us of the ability to perceive the world as it truly is, to look at a thing without invoking the infinite web of linguistic associations. It's easier to understand this by comparing it to reading. Once you learn to read well enough that it becomes automatic, you can no longer look at letters and without invoking their meanings. Even a short glance at a word will make the inner voice in your head say it. However, despite all of that, there are still things which we cannot say. There's a plethora of things in our minds which seem to escape the confines of language. Things like strong emotional states, such as love or grief, intuitive thinking, or traumatic experiences, all seem a bit tricky, too difficult to put into words. When I say phrases such as, "I was so shocked that I was at a loss for words," or "he committed an unspeakable crime," that doesn't just mean that I don't want to say with words what I feel. It means that what I feel is so strong or so complicated that there are simply no words that could describe it correctly. And yet, I still have to say it. So I find a different way. Long before we spoke language, we painted on cave walls, we carved masks, we danced in ritual, we sang without words. Art emerged not as an ornament, but as a necessity, a kind of parallel language that could speak the unspeakable, not bound by logic, sentence structure, or grammar. Even written art, such as poetry, even though it uses language as its fundament, can, through the use of devices like metaphors, metonymies, rhymes, rhythm, similes, make the meanings of the words deeper and more multidimensional to more closely mimic the way in which our brains connect images and thoughts and not the way in which they connect words. So, in conclusion, what can we all get away from this? First of all, it means that when we are speaking, we are not just expressing our thoughts, we are actively constructing them. It also means that every single word you use builds how you see the world, what you know, what you think, and even who you yourself are. Therefore, it means that language is not just a mirror of the reality. It's a mirror in which we see reality. And as any mirror, it can tell us both truth and illusion. So, the next time you say a word or even think a word, focus on yourself and think for a moment, is what I'm saying truly me and truly my thoughts? Or is this the language someone else has given to me? And what comes from it? Thank you very much.